we are. I thought I would do something a little different. I have here an Advent Model 100 noise reduction unit that's in dirty and filthy shape. See if I can zoom in on that a bit. Get all the glare on it. Unfortunately, all the dirt and grime and terrible situation of it is all my fault. I've had this since early 70s, and what it is, we can get back to the front. It is a noise reduction unit, Model 100, and it's the Dolby system. And it is used, I've had it with my open reel machine, or various machines, and what you do is create recordings in the Dolby A system, and, or is it B? Yeah, it's B, I'm sorry. I've forgotten all my Dolby information after all these years. And I made quite a few recordings, and then when I stopped using my open reel machine, everything got jammed down this old basement that's damp and humid and full of mice and all sorts of stuff. So it's in rough shape. So I'm going to do a restoration of it because I now have 3 open reel tape decks. My original one, which is the brown or brawn, and I think it's a TG1000, and it's open reel 3-headed, 3-motored deck from about 1974 or 5. And I have an Akai, which I have installed in my Electro Home console stereo, and I just acquired a Sony 3-headed, 3-motored, semi-logic solenoid operated machine. I can see it off in the corner now, and I don't have the model number in my brain at the minute. I will get back to it. At any rate, since I have all these encoded Dolby B tapes, and I might just like to make some more recordings, I thought I would dig this out and see if I can restore it. So I shall open it up. I'm sure that's not interesting for anybody or everybody except me. I'll open it up off camera and then I'll be back. Okay, well, I've got it apart, and I must say 19 screws to get this fella open. I mean, that's a little overkill. Another thing I've noticed, 2 things I've noticed right away, is it requires the top case to give it structural support. There are 4 bolts and nuts in the corners, and I've tightened them up, but they don't do much. So it has to have the top on in order to work properly. The other thing I've noticed, or one of the other things I've noticed is, and it isn't very clear, this is a complicated unit. It has processors for the recording circuits of the tape recorder and separate ones for the playback. So you can set up and record Dolby B, and through the courtesy of a 3-headed machine, you can monitor through the playback sections of this Dolby B, just as if this wasn't in the circuit at all. So you can do tape recording monitoring as the recording is going on. This is the reason why I wanted this particular device. Most of the units that were available at the time for this newfangled Dolby process were usable for 2-head machines, not 3, but the Advent was made for that. So as I said, it's very complicated, and unfortunately I've also found something I had forgotten about. I've done modifications to this, and I really wished I hadn't. The modifications mostly involve being able to use this as a disco mixer for mixing records on the go for the dance floor. Anybody remember disco? At any rate, so these two controls were removed because they were mono controls, one for each channel, and I put stereo in and put a switch on the back and whatever else I did, I don't know. I really, really wished I hadn't done that, and I will give serious consideration if I can find the original controls and knobs that I will restore it to the way it was. The other thing is I've done some service on it. I have replaced this capacitor in the power supply and filter. Also, this is the regulator. Can I zoom in on that? Wrong way. On a heatsink. Now the schematic calls for a 2N3055 regulator transistor, which is an NPN pass, and it is in a TO3 case, and it's never been here. There is nothing anywhere that shows a TO3 mount. So whatever it had, I put a heatsink and a TO220 type pass resistor. Can I show that? Yeah, right in there. So that was a good mod, I guess. All the filter capacitors should be changed. It has 1, 2, 3 pilot lights, which means there is 6.3 volts AC running all through the audio process circuits. I am extremely tempted to replace them with LEDs 1, 2, and 3 and rectify the 6.3 and put appropriate dropping resistors in order to get the keep the AC from infiltrating into the circuit. Another thing I've noticed is there's a slot missing, or a slot empty. The slot's there but nothing's in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boards, and I will have to dig into this a little more thoroughly. I can't remember, I can't understand if I would remove a board. I certainly hope I haven't. But according to the schematic, it has dotted lines, I'll show that, for the various processor boards. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So unless I'm mistaken, that is what's supposed to be in here. Now possibly they had another more advanced unit that had something else in there. I don't think when this was built, no, I'm fairly certain when this was built there was no Dolby C or double Dolby. It was either Dolby or no Dolby. So there we go. We can plug it in. I have my trusty isolation transformer and dim bulb supply, which is off camera, you can't see that. I've got the power switch on. I will increase it. There's 40 volts and more, 75, 100, nothing. There is something amiss. Okay, the first thing that would be obvious to try, and I'll unplug this just in case, would be the fuse. Hopefully it's just the fuse and not, get that in there, and not anything more serious like the power transformer, which would be a real headache. There's the fuse, right in the middle of the shot pretty well. And my meter, when I zero out the probes, 0.2, when I put it across the wide open. Oh, hooray. Okay. So what I will do, which is not something I particularly recommend anybody try. I'm just going to jumper. If I can do that safely. Yes, I will jumper. Okay, I'll jumper the fuse is what I kept trying to say. Alright, we shall try again. I've got it low. And I can see dial lights coming up. And we're on 72, 74, 84, 90. We are consuming 3.21 watts. I don't see any signs of smoke. So basically that's functioning. Alright. So that's a good sign. I shall replace the, what I could have done, pardon me for not thinking, is check voltages. And what have we got for regulator? Its emitter is the output. Well, let's see what we've got on the input. We've got 21 volts on the input, and so we need that, what is that? We'll try that one. 14.69. Okay, it's unrestricted, so that's okay. It's probably not enough to regulate it. So the regulator's working. That's fine. I'm not 100% sure I like this. It's being held up by the... that's probably live. I don't think I put a... oh dear, I must change that. What I've done is mount the mounting bolt through the heatsink tab of the TO220. Can I show that? Onto this. That makes this whole thing live at the collector voltage, which is the output of the rectifier voltage. I think I'd like to change that. I might be able to put a bracket up here and wire that over there, or bend the tab over. Actually, I could drill a hole in the case and just mount the transistor through a heatsink compound and mica isolator right through into the chassis. And then I just have to bring the wires over to it. That's not a bad idea. I like that. It's thinking a little more than what I did. Alright. What to do? Well, I'm not going to bore people with more and more and more of this. I'll see if I can take a shot of the schematic that's on there and upload that as well. See how that works. Alright, I shall be back. Well, I'm back. And I've got a nice mess here, as you can probably see. First of all, I cannot find the original controls that were in. Maybe I can show my replacement ones. I don't know whether they show or not. At any rate, it's these ones here, Alps. Nice stereo controls, and that's fine, but that was good for the day, but I don't need it anymore. So I cannot find the controls, which are exactly like these, and I cannot find the knobs. I have no idea what I did with them, and that's really distressing. So I can't make it look original. The controls are less of a problem because they're inside, but the knobs are, these are two of the original knobs. Okay, my beeper's beeping on me. I'll just stop that for a minute. So I have ordered, oh, there's another problem. I have two single controls made in China, and you know what that means? No comment. They are 10K. I have no idea why I ordered 10K, wherever they're marked. Yet there they are, 10K. So they don't work. I have no other single controls. So I went to the basement with all my other junk that's in there, and eureka, I thought. I've got two controls that were mounted for something somewhere. I have no idea what I use them for. Single controls. It says B and T on it, which means bass and treble, I guess. But I found out to my dismay they're 250K, and they were probably used in a tube circuit somewhere. So they're no good. So I found this one, which they are 50K, but they're duals, stereo. And that was used in something somewhere. I have no idea. All this stuff I have sitting around. So they're no good. So no controls suitable, no knobs suitable. I have these ones. Actually, this one, even though it's got a chrome face to it. Where are we? There we go. And it fits, and it's not too bad. I've only got one. I've got smaller ones. They show when they're mounted the nut that holds the control in place, and I don't want that to be shown at all. These ones I've got 4 of. They're for knurled control shafts. Again, they don't cover the... So I've ordered controls, and I've ordered knobs, and you know where I've ordered them from, because even though I go to Canadian suppliers, oh, there's another problem. Everybody has linear, nobody has audio taper anymore. And these should be audio taper. Now there are ways that you can simulate an audio taper with a linear control if you hook up, if I can demonstrate, the center tap, which is the wiper, to the ground side, which would be this side here, with a 10 to 15% value of your pot. So if your pot is 50K, and these ones originally all were 50,000 ohms, 50K, so you would put in a 50K pot, and then you would use 10 to 15K across there. I haven't tried it. I don't know if it works. I'm not too crazy about these types of controls. They're really flimsy. Trying to get, I can get burns in these ones. They're still linear. I might order them from Mouser or DigiKey if I'm not satisfied with the ones I get. That's unfortunate. So at any rate, here I am. Big mess. Everything's all over the place. Can't really proceed with that. But what I will do is, I think I'll change all electrolytic capacitors off camera, replace the fuse, and clean the controls that I have, and then we'll set it up with one of the tape recorders and see how well it works. And that will be that. I guess it's going to take me a while to get this done. Anyhow, alright, that's it for now. Good morning. Another snowy mid-November Southern Ontario morning. And I'm looking at a good covering of snow over everything already. Yuck. Don't like that. Okay. While you were gone, and this is a few days later, I must admit, that I've done some more work on this Advent Dolby processor. One of the most notable things is I removed the 6.3 volt dial light indicator light sockets and bulbs and wiring. As I think I said before, having AC wiring looped through all the areas where there is low-level signal processing going on, I didn't much like. I guess that was fun for the technology of the early 70s, but now we have LEDs. So what I have done is I took the 6.3 volt line, grounded one side, the other side has a rectifier and a modest filter capacitor, and it runs through. I don't know whether I can show you that. Get a little more on it. Okay, where are we? We are here. Okay. The 5 volt regulator, and then it feeds off lines separately. This is the main power indicator, and there's an inline resistor, that current limiting resistor, and it runs not too bright. The second line goes over, and the plus lead feeds both LEDs, and the minus lead, or the cathode, goes through a 1000 ohm resistor to the switch, and when the switch is put in the on position, it grounds it and illuminates the LED. The recommended LED calculator that I use online recommended 100 ohms, and that may be appropriate for 20 milliamps of current draw through the LED, but it was blindingly bright, very bright. So things didn't get tamed until I actually changed the resistor value to 1000 ohms, 1 kilo ohm, and that's 10 times the recommended amount. In the meantime, while I was off camera, I went looking for the controls that I had originally removed and these knobs, which are the Advent knobs. And if I can show you the front of it there, there's where they should be. So I've only got 2 out of the 4 knobs. I could not find them. I have no idea what I did with them. And I have not got the potentiometers. These are the dual 50,000 ohm potentiometers that I used for mixing when I was using this as a disco mixer. They'll come back out. I have ordered replacement potentiometers, 50,000 ohms, and 4 knobs, and I will replace all 4 knobs with these ones that I have ordered. They don't match this, but they will match each other, and I'll just pretend that's the way it's supposed to be. So they'll go on these 4. Other than that, what I've done is I've recapped some caps in there. I haven't replaced the main filter caps yet. I will do that. I've thrown it out now, but the AC, see if I can. Oh, this is hard to get into frame. We're getting there. Okay. The AC socket that's always on, doesn't go through the power switch, was badly damaged, and it was exposing the live 120 volt pins inside there. So I drilled it out, and I had one to replace it with, and unfortunately it was a little too big, as always, so I had a lot of filing to do. This is steel, this is not aluminum, so it took quite a bit. Also, the inline fuse, the wired in fuse, was open, and rather than just replace that, I drilled in a apron fuse holder. Where are we? There we go. And installed that and put it in. So those are the changes I've made so far. I also took this rather crude heatsink that I made for my improved regulator, which regulates this whole circuit at plus 15 volts. And because the current is relatively low, and this was very poorly mounted, I just decided to drill a hole and put this on the chassis through a mica insulator coated with silicone, thermally conductive lubricant, grease, whatever, and an insulating washer. Those things are getting hard to find. These you must use for any TO220 transistor packages because almost all situations the collector is connected directly to that heat dissipating metal tab on the bottom of the transistor. I haven't got one out here to show you, but at any rate, take it from me, they do. So if you just bolted that to the chassis, you'd be creating a direct short, and that obviously wouldn't be good for the transistor, the chassis, you, or the fuses involved. So you must use this shoulder washer, which is nylon, which fits through the hole. You put the bolt and the nut through it, and it effectively isolates the tab, the metal tab, from shorting out to the chassis. The filter caps, I think I said, haven't been replaced yet. I think I will do that. I've cleaned all the controls, and I think now it's time for me to set up the tape deck and show you basically what this does for Dolby processing in the playback mode. It needs a lot of recalibration for the record mode, and I won't bother doing that on camera. It's rather complicated, and I must re-familiarize myself with procedures. It's been 20 years, 30 years since I've used this fella. So, oh, there's another thing. I must have been taking my dopey pills in this first video when I said, oh, there's a slot missing. Maybe it always was missing. No, it had fallen out somehow, and when I took the case off, it ended up over there, and I'd totally forgotten about it. So every single slot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is populated with a card. This one, they just pull out. They fit on pins. Yeah, I'm way out of camera range there. And I like this idea, except I can't get it back in. There we go. And I haven't cleaned those pins. They're gold plated, it appears to be. They're plated with something that looks like it hasn't corroded. So I'll clean them anyhow, but I haven't done it yet. All right, so I shall set up the tape recorder, hook it up, and show you basically what it's supposed to do, if it actually makes a difference on camera. I'll be back. I've just been editing the first part of this video, and I've noticed a couple of things. First of all, my excessive use of the word well. Well, I'm back. Well, let's start. Well, good morning. What bad grammar choices I've made. Oh well, enough castigation. I did a final video, exit video, showing the alignment procedures, and the volume was ear splitting, and with my unfamiliarity with the video editing software, I sort of messed it up. So I'm back again. What I have now is the tape deck, which is the Sony what is it, TC640 3-head, 3-motor machine, heavy as heck, and nice unit. At any rate, it's there. I have a tape already threaded on, and there's a leader tape, and then you'll hear a short burst of the 400 hertz signal that I recorded on it like 40 years ago. Oof, a long time ago. And it will show on these Dolby level meters, and if I can zoom in a bit more, there are 2 Dolby reference level marks there, and these are the controls for aligning it. The playback output level of your tape deck, if it has them, will affect that. So you must use, back that off a bit, just for a second. There's the output level control. It's called playback volume, which is fine, except that it will affect this calibration here. So you choose basically an arbitrary value, but I would suggest mid volume. Keep the both, if they're dual inline, keep the both controls set the same. All right, now we'll go tight up again on this. You will hear this tone, and then you'll hear the start of the music. It is a well-known rock band of the 70s and 80s, and I will not be allowed to play too much of it, but you will get an idea of how it works. So, simple thing is, put it in play, listen for the tone, adjust the meters through these two play calibration controls, and then it is set up for playback. That is separate from record. The record playback is a little more complicated. I won't show it now. If you're interested, you could probably Google the Advent or any other Dolby processor and see how that is accomplished. Anyway, here we go. First, the tone. And as you can see, I've already set them. They're relatively stable. Now the music comes on. Okay, and I guess we can get maybe enough for you to identify who it is. And as you could see, this meter fluctuates as well. This is an indication of playback. It's also shown on here. This playback volume stays static. Don't adjust that, or it throws off the alignment of the Dolby and it will not work properly or make the sound effect of reducing the noise, the high frequency noise possible. The record is accomplished by recording a test level, and you adjust your line voltage in this case, line volume input to match the signal and put it at the Dolby level, and then that stays static. You do not adjust that again, and all input recording levels will be accomplished with that master control and your 2 or 4 inputs for mixing through that. Again, the level controls for recording still are accomplished with the VU meters on your tape recorder, but again, once you've set the volume, input volume, record volume on your machine, that stays stable. All other adjustments will be accomplished on the Advent in this case. So that's it. You heard the little clip of the video of the soundtrack, and I think that's pretty well ready to go. I shall do whatever I have to finish with this off camera and just put it into service, and I hope that that's illuminated somebody's or piqued somebody's interest in how Dolby processors really worked in the first years of Dolby. So I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day. Take care.